Thank you so much, Hannah. Look at, we're on the page already. So I wanted to share with you a little of my reasoning behind being so excited about growth mindset. Like Hannah said we are earlier, we're so excited to talk to you about this because a lot of times in our K-12 experiences, we find that we evaluate ourselves. We say, I'm good at something, I'm not good at something. But when you're entering college, you really have a whole new set of experiences, and it takes a lot of unlearning of that self-evaluation. And so growth mindset is a great way to kind of unlearn those practices if you have those habits of evaluating whether or not you're good at something. And so I'm just going to read this really quickly, but growth mindset is based on an understanding of neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is the idea that your brain is always capable of learning, it's always forming new connections, and we have neuroplasticity through our whole lifespan. So little kids between the ages of 0 to 5, that's when the brain is most ready to learn and forming the most connections. But that process, even though it slows over time, it does remain throughout the entirety of our lifespan. So you can always learn new things, you can always grow your talents, you can always strengthen and develop the skills that you already have and acquire new skills through practice and through trying new innovative things. So no matter what your situation is, one of the best, easiest ways to develop a growth mindset is to take maybe some habits you learned in the past, like saying, I'm not good at that, or I don't like that, or this just isn't for me, and adding the word yet onto the end of your statements, because it really gives you an opportunity to rethink everything. So the difference between saying, I don't know how to do this, and ending your thought process there and being frustrated, and I don't know how to do this yet, means you can move forward. It gives yourself permission to still keep trying. So you can see I'm like moving my hands while I talk, but you can see on the screen in front of you the differences between fixed and growth mindset. And I'm not going to read all of these to you, but I'll just read a couple. So fixed mindset might be, this is fine the way it is, there's nothing to change, everything's great, but you know, what you really want to be asking yourself when developing new skills is this really my best work? What opportunities do I have? Can I still get better? For example, I have a 4th grader who tells me that he's already learned everything all the time, and he's in math, and he gets frustrated when he's trying to learn new things in math. But then 10 minutes later, he'll walk away and say, well, I already know everything, so I don't need to keep doing math. And so really instilling in him the idea that we're always learning and always practicing and always able to acquire new knowledge and skills it's a shift in what he's been taught. Another example here, talented peers, and that's something that we often do, is compare ourselves to other people. So it's easy for that person, they're just smart about the subject, they were born that way, they're good at it. And then often when we look at ourselves in comparison, we say, well, I'm not good at it, or I'm not as good at it. But really looking at other people and saying they got good at it, how did they do it so I can replicate those good practices, gives yourself some mindset. So I wonder how they did it. Let me try and figure this out. Let me adopt some new practices, or just kind of shake it up and approach it in a different way. Those are all ways to use growth mindset. And you can advance. So this is an example I love, George Costanza in the 90s show Seinfeld, and I'm going to drop the video in the chat because my bandwidth here is really bad, so I think if I try to show it to you, it's going to disappear. So if you want to take the time and just watch this video, go right ahead, and for those who are watching at home, I'm going to also put this in our YouTube channel here. This is about 4 minutes long, but when you get a chance to watch this, and I think I'll save you the time right now since we're already a little behind. One of the things I want you to think about is what mindset George is in when he first starts the video, and how his new mindset changes his experiences. And so really look at that as like, how was George in a fixed mindset before, and how is he growing through his new mindset? Because that's essentially what employing a growth mindset does for you. And we're all fixed in growth mindsets, not always at the same time, but it just depends on our situation. We might have something that we're really good at and we're always excited about learning, and we might have something that we're more unfamiliar and hesitant and more likely to evaluate ourselves in terms of like whether we're good or not. And so just recognize that this is something that we all need to work at. We all need to learn more, and that we haven't learned enough yet when it comes to growth mindset.
Absolutely. So definitely watch the video. It's funny. And if you've never seen Seinfeld, you should consider watching it. I think you can watch it all on Hulu. So just take note of that.